It says, what's the future? Vaughn Coleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another episode of Vaughn Coleman Presents. I am, of course, your host, Vaughn Coleman. And before I get started, before I introduce my guests, I do, of course, want to show off my campaign, which is, it's doing all right, but we can always do better. So check out my comic book, Phenomenova. So set 20 years after World War III, Phenomenova follows the idealistic son of a war hero who is struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal and finds himself awakening with lightning powers and lightning speed. And he does his best to try and be a hero, but finds himself in way over his head when he attempts to intervene at a heist at a nuclear reactor. If you could see here, we've got the main cover, and then all the variant covers are going to be crowdfunding campaign exclusives. So all the variant covers. So once you miss out, you won't be able to get them. Rini's cover will be colored. And she's going to make him have the flowing hair because she was like, it looks better without the helmet. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And if it hits 15K, everyone will get this art that everyone loves as a mini print, but only if it hits 15K. Then everyone gets it for free. But everyone will get this mini print for free with their order when you back. So everyone make sure to do that. This will be, again, a Fun My Comic exclusive. So if you want this, make sure you back it on Fun My Comic and you will absolutely get it. So definitely check that out. Link is in the chat. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in our guests. Please welcome Dark Gift and Doc Blalock.
Blalock.
Is it Blalock? I should have asked beforehand. Blalock.
No problem, Vaughn. No problem.
Got water. I didn't know we were doing cheers. I would have not tried my coffee before.
I'm drinking water too. It's all good.
No, Rini did not design my character. But it's just so my character, one of the cool things about having a makeshift costume in issue 1, because I decided he's not ready, is I realized none of the, and I don't know if it's just a girl thing, it just so happened my variant cover artists were all girls. Well, actually, Jules had no issue drawing the helmet. But Rini was like, in her words, she's like, I don't want to give him a tard helmet or something. And so, so I was like, all right, fine. She was like, can I please remove this tard helmet or message me? And I'm like, yeah, fine.
But isn't like the charm of the first issue is that the guy's got he's probably got a bike helmet with skater.
I laugh when
skater elbow pads on.
Because that's what my artist, when he showed me the design of the helmet, I was like, that's so perfect because I'd never thought of that. Yeah. It was I figured let's have him earn his costume because it's also you see Spider-Man's I designed this costume and it's like no, you did not. There's no way.
Right.
I mean, I could buy it because it's a comic book, but yeah. So we got your campaign looks great. This is actually the second noir book I've had on here, which is cool. I like seeing more of this genre. I remember when I went to film school, we had to go through a whole noir study, and that was pretty cool. I could always watch more.
A minute here. Who else is doing noir?
Someone is doing a book called Star Noir, where it's like an alien in the noir setting.
All right.
But,
we'll allow that.
Damn Dirty Thing is a great title for a noir book.
I told you, Doc.
Thank you. I came up with it.
I know. There was almost a second there where Doc almost changed the title of the book.
I'm familiar with that idea, changing titles.
Yeah.
What was it going to be?
Well, chapter 2 of the Jake Bishop series will be Blood on the Bricks. That was going to be the title. The third book in the Jake Bishop series is Justice or Something Like It.
Oh, that's cool. So those are cool titles. So so you said you're doing so this is a series then.
Yeah. Jake Bishop is a character that we meet in the second Pariah book, which is we've already got the first one out.
All right.
And he features prominently in that book, but as I was writing him for that second Pariah book, I was like, you know what? I need to back up and let this guy hit the ground running. So I'm going to do just a little short floppy, which then turned into I'm also going to do a novella. So
awesome.
people really get to know this character.
It started off as a 12-pager, then a 16-pager, then a 20-pager, and now I think it's a 24.
Oh.
I think.
No, I think I'm at 20, Anthony. I think I brought it in.
Okay.
See, I mean, I've done that too. I remember Kelsey Shannon specifically was like, Vaughn, don't go more than 56 pages in my book. It is going to be 68 pages. So, but sometimes you have to extend stuff. I think a lot of the time, a lot of indie comics, they're on a budget, but they also have too many ideas. And so the result is they just throw too much at you. And you can't do that in noir. It's about atmosphere. You need to slow down in noir.
Well, I think the issue was originally this was just going to be like, because originally Pariah was going to be one big book. We split it up into 3 because of basically the economy went in the toilet. And we were like, let's make it affordable.
Right.
And part of splitting it up kind of ruined his introduction.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, let's just introduce him, give people a feel, and that's why it was going to be a shorter book. Then Doc fell in love with the character and decided this was going to be his, basically his flagship character in his little Rampart universe of books that he has planned. And not that they're all going to be connected. I'm just saying, this is these two happen to be connected. And, he really wanted to beef it up and really get you to know this character. So this way, even if you don't jump in on the Pariah series, on the other books, you can you know who he is and and move forward with that character after the Pariah series is over. Yeah.
I mean, that's really dope. It's interesting to hear that. So are your books, because I apologize, I do intend on getting there's so many. First of all, everyone thinks they're special in high school for being that artsy kid. And then you realize that there's so many. And so I was always like, oh, I'm the only one making. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
There's a fuck ton of us.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm not special. I think, people realize that. But I do intend on reading your books. But are your books all in the same universe that you publish?
Yeah. The Rampart universe is my imprint. Anthony is Dark Gift Publishing. So he's got Rampart under there, then he's got his own other stuff, but all of mine are interconnected. They all exist in the same world.
All right. So Anthony, does all your stuff under Dark Gift Publishing exist in the same world, or no? Okay, I didn't think so. Not the same universe as Lightbringer.
No, Lightbringer is under my so Lightbringer is Iron Liz's property, and she doesn't have her own publishing, she doesn't have her own imprint, so she's under my Midnight Images imprint, which is basically books for people who don't have imprints, but I don't really have anything to do with other than publishing them, although on the second book I am the anchor, but that's neither here nor there. So that's under Midnight Images. Dark Gift Comics is the imprint that either I'm writing or drawing or both, so Hunting Alice is under Dark Gift Comics. But I also have a book that once I'm done with Hunting Alice is going to be called Broken. That is not anywhere near close to being connected to Hunting Alice. So no, they're not all connected. There will be books that are connected though. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I will also be taking under the wing Billy Powermax's imprint and Stephen B's Bullcat Studios. Under the Dark Gift Comics umbrella, and obviously these are all 3 different publishing houses underneath one big company.
That's cool. I always wanted to do something like that, and then people told me, "Well, don't get your first book out first." So I'm like, "All right."
Listen to that, because it's been a very hectic ride.
I imagine.
I've been managing, but I've stumbled along the way, and you don't want to do that in the beginning. And thankfully, I have a good support system where people are. They like to troll, but but they've been understanding. So
that's good. That's always good to hear. James Hurley says Dark Gift is a legend of the slums.
This is true.
Probably that's a thing, I guess. Yeah.
So LE says, "Damn Dirty Thing" is a good title. Maybe Vaughn can adapt to film. Of course, I get 10% commission fee. Well, I don't know about the last part. But listen, I mean, I majored in film, so, always interested. But I love noir stuff. I always wanted to get more into the genre, but even outside of just film noir, I mean, Frank Miller's Daredevil, I need to read a Sin City. I've only seen the movie. but like I love Frank Miller's Daredevil and the noir stuff in there. And I'm curious.
Definitely read Sin City.
Yeah, no, it's on my to read list. I mean, I love Frank Miller. Yeah, I think his like my favorite stuff is his Daredevil, but I intend on reading more. I love his dark Batman. His earlier Batman stuff. I like
his Man Without Fear with Ramita.
Oh my god,
Jesus, man, that's the best. There it is.
I'm agreeing. I keep putting it off, but I am gonna do a whole series. I'm gonna get a group together like Rini and all of them. We're gonna go through Frank's entire Daredevil run. So I actually made a video breaking down what I think is the definitive reading order, and that's where I think people should start. Is the Man Without Fear.
Absolutely.
I read it when I was in middle school, and then I read it again when I was older, and it was one of those books because sometimes you'll revisit something and you're like, hey, it's not as good. It got better. Like it's so good. It's so good.
I'm gonna put a hot take out there. His best work is Sin City.
I need to read Sin City because I can't argue with you. Have you ever seen Charlie Brown by Frank Miller?
No.
Oh my god! Hang on, I'll show you this. It's really funny. It's like someone did a Charlie Brown comic, but in the style of Sin City.
Oh my god!
And it's like the funniest shit. It's so fucking funny.
Oh, so it's not really him. Okay.
No, it's not actually real, but it's the line. It is so. It's Eisner worthy. So hold on, let's see if I could zoom in on this. All right, so they're playing baseball, and it's the other part of me feels the ball setting in my glove like a bullet in the chamber. I look straight into Linus's weasel eyes, and he looks back into mine. Blood surges, and the ball goes. It feels long enough for me to imagine it killing him in all those kinds of ways. But he swings and connects, and I know it's all over. Couldn't dodge it even if I wanted to. Ball ran through me, my gallbladder like a runaway freight train loaded full of concrete fists. Everything tears away, and I can't tell if it's the ball's skin or mine. Everything goes black at the ground, falls away. And I know I'm not going to heaven. Not today, not ever. And Linus, you're going with me.
Bravo.
That's amazing.
Who did that?
I don't know, but it's so good.
That is so on point, man. There's a
oh, that's not even all of it. There's more to it than that. Yeah.
There was a strip years ago where Charles Schultz and John Romita Sr. teamed up, and it's the typical Charlie's running at the ball while Lucy's holding it, and Spider-Man comes down and thwips up Lucy so she can't pull the ball away, and Charlie Brown gets to kick it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Lucy sucks. What a horrible woman.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to ask before I get into what your book is about. I always like to ask, what got you guys into comics?
A friend, actually, when we were kids. Yeah. Like I always liked comics, but like actually like diehard comic fan. A buddy of mine in like the 6th grade was reading X-Men, and I said, "What are you reading?" And he showed it to me, and then he said, "Borrow it." And the next day I went back on the school bus. I was like, "Do you have the other issue?" And that was it.
That's awesome. Claremont's Run, I assume.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I've been reading.
187, I think, was the issue.
That's good.
Mine was all the way back in 1976. The first comic I bought for myself was a Captain America comic, and off the spinner rack. And previously, my mother and father were both teachers. They wanted us to read at an early age, so they would read Superman and Batman to us. But that didn't make any sense to me because Superman could fly, but Batman couldn't. They both had capes. That shit didn't make sense to my little young brain. So I jumped into Captain America. Then I discovered, oh, wait, he's in this other book too called The Avengers. And ooh, look, there's all these other characters. So that was the first time I got into it, and then got out of it, and then got back into it again in the 90s. Again, picked up The Avengers, and because that's my team, man. I was never an X-Men guy. I was always an Avengers guy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been meaning to read, even though like the Avengers movies, I know I feel like I haven't really read much Avengers. I've read some tie-in stuff, But that's a series I've been meaning to get into. I know people. What run do you recommend most?
The Korvac Saga.
Korvac Saga. Okay, that's Starlin, right? Or who is that?
Starlin, George Perez, and I think John Byrne did a book too. It's a big crossover between them and the Guardians. If I remember right, I think it's around issue 136-ish.
Gotcha. 136. That's cool. Yeah, I've been meaning to get into that, but I just haven't yet.
Yeah, that's the essential, really just great team book, and so well written and so well drawn. That there's a panel. I've told Anthony this before. There's a panel in there where obviously George Perez, because only he can fit 20 people in a
it's insane
3x5 panel and make it look good. And
I'm in awe of his stuff.
Yeah, I remember banging my head against the wall trying to figure out how he did it, and I would draw that same panel over and over and over again. Then I would draw the page, and that's what got me into drawing the stuff.
I mean, I've tried doing that, and I realized very quickly. First of all, if I put in some time, I'm sure I could have some skills. But I mean, it's just insane. You look at, especially his work in Crisis or New Teen Titans. There's always 7 members in the team, and you always know who's in what position. It's never hard to follow. There's a lot of stuff that I can write in a script that I don't realize until my artist is putting on the page how much I've asked. But I'm like, they deliver. They deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always insane. But I do love that kind of thing. So, what made you decide to do a noir book?
I freaking love noir. My all-time favorite movie is Casablanca, and then right up there with that is The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep with
I've seen that.
And it's a throwback to when I was young on a rainy Sunday. You're trapped inside, and cable television back then only had one channel that wasn't the 3 networks. And it was always just some old black and white movies from back in the day. And I just fell in love with that stuff. Love it.
I'm honestly, Damn Dirty Things seems like a title that would have been out. Like, it almost feels, that's kind of what I liked about it that got me immediately, is I'm like, this feels like Frank Miller. It feels like, it also feels like something that would have come out back then. Yeah. I think, look at, all right, so I'm looking at the best noir movies just to refresh myself and to educate myself too. So I've seen Vertigo's considered Vertigo's not noir. It's
not noir.
No. Yeah, that's ball. Touch of Evil is fantastic. That one's really good. I remember in my film class they were complaining that Charlton Heston isn't allowed to play Mexican or whatever, and I'm like, dude, it's acting. Like, but it was like a whole discussion in my class, and I guess like I was just kind of quiet because I was like, this is really a waste. Can we talk about like the cinematography or something? Like,
right, exactly. Right. Just talk about the story and not worry about being politically correct.
Right. How is it shot? The lighting, the camera.
Which we did talk about, to be fair, but I was like, this is
The Big Sleep is a great one.
Double Indemnity was one I didn't appreciate the first time I watched it. I watched it twice, once in high school in my film class, and then again in college. And the first time I watched it, I was kind of bored, if I'm being honest. The second time I was in love with it. The Third Man, of course, that one's great. Big Sleep, I think, is one I need to watch again.
Oh man, it's fantastic.
I watched it, but Maltese Falcon I haven't seen yet. I've only seen part of it.
It's great. It's great. It's good stuff, man. Frank Miller took noir and made it really bloody and gory and violent. And there's nothing wrong with that because he stayed within the bounds and kept it noir. I dialed this back. I wanted it to be when you're reading the book or reading the comic book, I want you to feel like you're watching one of those old movies on a Sunday or late at night on a Friday night after. Remember when you were young? Well, you won't. Well, Vaughn, but Anthony,
I was younger at one point.
You remember when we were young and you would turn on Kung Fu Gold, just hoping you would see a good Kung Fu movie through the grainy static, and there might even be a boob or two get flashed.
Or even in like the 80s, they had on the USA Network, they had Kung Fu Theater.
Gold. But after that shit went off, would come on the old noir movies, and I was just enraptured by that, and I don't know why. I don't know why it clicked with me like it did, but it damn sure did.
There's just
Yeah.
something about the air of a noir story. I feel like when I think of Frank Miller's Daredevil, even just before or Double Indemnity, there's just a certain feeling you get immediately, and I don't think
Yeah.
you could say that about even, I mean, I guess to an extent superheroes, but not really like the same way. Like noir really is just a feeling
It's
almost
a
that you get.
flavor. It's
Yes.
scotch and cigarettes and jazz, slow saxophone jazz
And
music.
smoke coming up from beneath the
Yeah,
drain. It's
yeah,
it's those lights. I don't what like the lamp posts. It's the trench coat.
yeah.
Like you immediately think of so many things that are very
Shadows,
yeah.
dim lights.
And you've got
Yeah.
you've always got the hard bitten guy and the femme fatale.
Yeah.
It's just it's formulaic, and God bless it for being that way, because I leaned into every trope there is in making this book.
Yeah, tropes aren't inherently a bad thing. It's
That's
just
right.
that's what people often will say. I think trope and cliche are different, but even still, if you execute something well, you
Hmm.
execute it well. I don't think that there's anything wrong with if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean,
Exactly
there's a
right.
reason it succeeded for so long.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the one thing that Doc did do, which was like a little bit of a challenge put on us by Aldous on the Farms, who is probably next to Doc one of the, well, Doc is probably bit like the foremost on noir. Aldous is the foremost on pulp.
Uh,
And I said we were going to try to work a noir with some pulp and supernatural elements, and he's like, "You can't do it," and I was like, "We can do it," and Doc did it. Yeah.
Damn right I can do it.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
paraphrased the conversation. It wasn't.
What do
like
you
he
think
had-
is the difference between pulp and noir?
Well, pulp is noir can be pulp, but not all pulp is noir. I'll put it to you that way.
Okay.
Yeah, noir to me is all the things we said a minute ago, but you almost always got to have that one hard bitten character that's just a fatal flawed guy. Like, what are you? You're holding back your laughter.
No,
Vaughn.
it was
What's
something
up?
in the chat. Don't worry about it.
I
Continue.
saw
Oh,
it too.
I see it. I
I
see
you
it.
did, Anthony. I know you did. I know you did, Anthony. I could see you laughing. All right, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. We were having a
No,
circle
no, that's-
noir.
I think that's the only difference. Your pulp characters can have a broader scope. For it to really be noir, there's always got to be that one or two really hard bitten, crusty old, and then
Right.
the gorgeous femme fatale, and then all the impossible odds happen to them, and they somehow come out on top, or not.
Yeah, the vibe of pulp, and because that's why you say a lot of like the more popular pulp, what would I guess would be considered like mainstream pulp, tends to like sit in the sci-fi or fantasy genre, right, where the things are a little more expanded and vibrant. When you think about noir, like everything is kind of small, right? Like everything that Doc
Yes.
said, but like you're in a city, and obviously it's a big city, but
It's vignettes within
it's
that city.
yeah, and it's almost like that city is the only city that exists in the world, right? Like
As far, yeah.
yeah, there's nothing expanded past where we are. We're, using New York as an example, you're in Washington Heights. The story takes place in Washington Heights.
Mm-hmm.
The Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, like none of that exists. Like it's you're just very focused in on this neighborhood, and like it's like very condensed, and there's that element of it that keeps it simple to a point. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it's to use a word that sometimes denotes something different. It's more intimate.
Mhm.
The story's
Absolutely.
more intimate. It's about these people, and that's it. The whole world can burn to hell around them. It's about these people.
Absolutely. I think that's a good, it's also like all the twists and turns within a small, like, so it makes a small circle almost feel bigger, I feel like, because they'll explore every interpersonal connection. Looking at it, I mean, because
Yeah.
I always think of black and white, but like I know people consider Chinatown noir, or is that neo noir? I remember learning all these things.
Yeah.
What was it? LA Confidential.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, those count.
You see, I didn't learn it formally. I just walked into it as a fan. So
Yeah.
you would know better than me how to classify
Well, that
it.
was years ago. But I mean, I remember I probably still have the notes somewhere. But I did take notes in class.
That was a classy way of him calling you old.
No.
Yes.
That was years ago.
I'm going to overlook that you almost called me Pops, Danny. I mean Anthony.
I know, I do that all the time.
Noir is the pushback to the happy-go-lucky culture of the 50s. Do we agree with that? I mean, maybe was it
to an extent.
Well, no, I don't.
Didn't it start in the 40s?
Noir started in the 40s.
Yeah.
Right. I was
maybe
just
it could have been ramped up though. You know what I mean? You know how, like, for example,
it became popular. Yeah.
For example, I feel like there are going to be books. I almost feel like we're getting a new, for example, Bad Girl when they start censoring like hot chicks, that there's going to be a counter. Like, that doesn't mean there weren't before, but maybe they're ramping up. Is that the case with Noir? Like, was it maybe ramped down and then they forced it to go? I don't know. I don't know the history that well.
But he's got a better point in his next comment where he says there's a lot of loss of innocence within Noir. The damsel in distress isn't necessarily the good one.
The broken hero. She's not a damsel in distress. She's just as likely to shoot you as the villain is, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a moral ambiguity to it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
And not always a happy ending too. I mean, that was a thing. Even like, I remember that used to be, wasn't it even the Comics Code had a thing where it was like evil had to be punished or something?
The good guys had to win. Yeah.
And that was just, I mean, in film, I guess in a way, Double Indemnity, the good guys win because the main characters are bad guys. So that was their way around it. But Chinatown, no, God, no. Chinatown, that's just a messed up ending.
Yeah, you think about that moral ambiguity that was there. At the beginning of Casablanca, there's one of the patrons of Rick's place gets arrested, and the guy's crying out, Rick, help me, hide me. And he says, I stick my neck out for nobody. But by the end of the movie, he sacrifices everything he has to help somebody and then has to go on the run, and it just ends there. So that moral ambiguity, you know, it's there. There's a gray area, but ultimately for the guy to be heroic, there's got to be some kind of moral absolute.
Yeah.
And I did try to impart that, and I think successfully, to Jake Bishop.
Yeah. I mean, Jake Bishop's another, I know it was that inspired by Jake Giddys at all or no? No, it just happened. I mean, Jake's a common name. So I was just curious if there was chances.
Yeah. This guy had 4 or 5 different names before I settled on Jake Bishop. I'm really picky about how I name things. They have to sound good. They have to look good on the page. They have to fit the story. So, you know, I fuss over that stuff quite a bit.
It's cool. Did you guys, so when it comes to, it says it's a Pariah story. Do you have to know Pariah to get into this?
No, you do not.
Well,
absolutely not.
So if we go through the tiers, it's only it's $7 for the 20-page book.
Yeah. And
you get digital. That's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
$7 whole. Come on, boys and girls.
And then a novella. So it's 80-page illustrated. Tell us about that.
It might not hit 80. I wanted to put a cap on it though. It's looking like it's going to come in between 60 and 70, plus about 10 original illustrations. But I wanted and they'll be about this size. This is Stephen King's novellas, you know. I wanted them to be a throwback to the old dime store novels you would pick up as far back as the 40s, you know, just something to read while you're on the shitter.
Yeah. You put it in your coat pocket, take it on the train with you, and you read it on your way to work or something.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool. Right. So is it the same story, just in novella form?
It's the expanded version of the story.
Okay, so
it's greatly expanded.
So is it like, because when we're talking like canon, I guess, and what happens, like, is there any contradicting at all, or are they different at all? It's the same story, just one has more information.
Yeah, you can think of it as the floppy is just kind of a heavily edited version of the novella.
Gotcha. Right. That's cool. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you're a writer and an artist. Who do you when you're writing? I'll ask as a writer first. Who do you pull from? Who are your favorite writers?
My favorite writers are Tom Clancy for
Okay.
his attention to detail and his ability to spin that many plates at one time. Tolkien, because the most beautiful use of the English language in history. And then Stephen Brushed, because he's cool.
I know. I'm gonna see if I know Steve. I know the other two. Stephen Brushed.
Stephen Brushed is the author of the Dragera series. Vlad Teltos is a human assassin living in a world of these tall, supernatural, long-lived, nearly immortal people, and he becomes one of the most feared people on the planet.
Oh, I've never heard of this. This seems like the kind of stuff Rainey would like.
Yeah,
Is it the
it's
fantasy
really
stuff?
good. He's got great quotes. Like my favorite quote from Brushed, his character says it: "There is no substitute for good manners except quick reflexes."
Ooh, that's a good quote. That's a great quote. That's really cool. So, all right, so that's your favorite. Now, what about your favorite artists?
Oh, there's the weird part. Okay, George Perez and Claude Monet.
Claude, hang on, let me see if George Perez. I know George Perez is one of mine too. Claude,
Monet's not a comic book artist. Monet
I didn't
is
think
a,
so. I'm
he's a
trying to see
fine
where
artist. Yeah.
No, because I knew there was a curveball coming. I just was trying to brace myself for what it was going to be. Okay.
I literally started drawing, copying George Perez, and painting and copying Claude Monet when I was very young because I loved both of them. I didn't realize that there was some kind of separation between them. I thought they were both art.
Yeah,
So I did both.
It's kind of how you learn that writing is different. Like when I was transferring my screenplay to comic, you realize how different it's. And I assume it's the same thing with comic form and you painting. You realize that those little differences go a long way. But that's interesting. That's a really interesting combination.
Yeah. I mean, they are who they are. Monet, if nothing else, my plein air impressionism taught me how to work fast initially. Then comic books, you kind of have to slow down, tighten down, and you go from the big motions of painting down to the little micro motions of drawing.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it's also one thing people don't realize about comics. I remember I was going, this much a page, that's crazy, and then it's like, no, it's not. Look at how much work they have to do. If anything, I mean, comic book artists, they have to do so many different things on each page.
Yes.
Yes. And that's why going forward, I'm trying to, give my artists a bit more of a breather with, how many panels you put on a page. But it's great. I love this. The visual storytelling and the variety between the panels is great. Even though I can't draw to save my life, I'm learning now that, you really want to vary it up. Whereas with film, you can have because in my directing style, when I direct stuff, I like long takes. That is inherently, and I think that'll remain a staple of my film style because you can't really do that in a comic. You can have a double page spread, but it's not the same as someone moving through a scene.
Right.
Yeah. I try to stick to the concept of one or two really badass panels on every page and then do good with the others so that the story flows. In other words, don't try to make every panel a cover because you'll never finish a book.
Yeah.
Having said that, George Perez can do that shit, or could do that shit. Not me.
George Perez is one of those guys that would add panels for the story, and I love when artists do that. I'll never complain about the artist having too many panels on the page. I'll say that. Artists will complain about me writing too many panels, but I'll never complain. I mean, maybe I'm sure I probably won't find an instance of that where the artist.
Somebody just showed me a double page spread with 50 panels on it.
Was it Frank Dark Knight Returns?
No. This is someone we know in the community that's doing a book, and they said, "Yeah, this is my double page spread with 50 panels on it." And I went, "Why do you hate yourself? Why do you hate yourself?"
I'm seeing how many are in that Dark Knight Returns panel. Because you know what I'm talking about? The scene where his parents are getting murdered? That one is insane. But I don't know if even that's 50. Oh my God. 50. Jesus.
Yeah, why would you do that? That's 25.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna. Yeah, I need to find out whose book that is. That sounds really.
25 panels a page.
Yeah,
I
or
can't
unless
remember.
they put like 2 on one and then 48 on the other.
Right. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I don't
think
remember if it was
Jim Starlin.
Kirby or maybe Jim O'Reilly was showing me some
Insanity.
upcoming stuff, their layouts, and I'm like, you know, 50 panels? Are you shitting me right now?
Yeah. Shit.
No.
There's a lot of things I've learned
No, that's. I'm looking at the
the
Dark Knight
last couple of
Returns
years
panel.
what
That's
not to
even
do to
close.
myself anymore.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
looking
That
at that
and
Dark.
stairs.
Stairs.
I swear, in my book, any book I do going forward will not have stairs in it.
Elevators.
Wow. All
Flight of
right.
stairs.
Well, so that's things I don't realize when I'm writing something is what I'm really doing with in terms of that. Also, all right, I'm looking at this. Wow, it's not even close. So this is only I say only, but it's 16 panels a page, and I thought that was a lot.
That is a lot.
Unfathomable.
That is still a lot.
50. Wow. All right,
Not
that's nuts.
not me. You'll never
I
see
know.
that. My word
Most
to
people.
all my backers, I will never do that to you or myself.
Yeah, more importantly, yourself, I think.
That's right. That's right.
Want to make sure you're okay. So we see some superpowers. So tell us, we've talked about the character, but we haven't really talked about the character or the story for that matter. So what is the story of this book?
The story of the book picks up with Jake Bishop recovering from an attempted mob killing on his life. They bomb his office and kills his partner, kills his secretary, but he survives. And so now he's after the mob boss who ordered the hit. Simple, straightforward story. It's not a who done it. It's a go find the guy you know did it, track him down. He lost his secretary, so he hires a new one. And then to his surprise, this glamorous supermodel looking movie star girl shows up. Portia Vance, incredibly competent and just as driven as he is to get this mob boss. And so it's Portia Vance and Jake Bishop in hot pursuit of or trying to track down Vito Morelli. Now, it comes out in the story, he's a ditch wizard. He's not just a detective. Magic exists in my world. It's about as common as a person who's actually a real life genius is in our world. In other words, a lot of people claim it, but not a lot of people really are.
Oh, okay.
So it exists, but it's not all that common. And there's 3 forms of magic. There's sorcery / wizardry. There's witchcraft, and then there's voodoo / druidic stuff. And it's all about where do they get their power from. Sorcerers like Jay, he calls himself a ditch wizard because he has no training. He just came by it. They pull their power from a place called the Elsewhere, and they manipulate that power to do what they want. Witches draw their power from their own bloodline. Shaman and druids draw it from nature.
Right.
But they have to cobble a lot of it together. It's the weakest of the magics. But having said that, the 2 other things, you don't really see it in this book, but it'll come out over time. The trench coat and fedora serve purposes. The fedora that he wears prevents him from being mind scanned or located by someone doing a psychic trace.
So there's a reason for it.
Yeah, and his trench coat is bulletproof. Now, if you shot him with a gun point blank, you're going to break a rib and maybe bust a liver, but it's not going to penetrate that trench coat. And the other thing it does, he doesn't fly, but if he falls from a great height while he's wearing it, it ain't going to kill him. It'll take him gently to the ground.
That's really cool. That's all right. I like that you're introducing superpowers into a noir world, but it still seems like it still feels very noir based on how you're
Right.
paneling it, how you're structuring it. Because I don't know if I've really. I mean, even with Frank Miller's Daredevil run, there really weren't that many. I mean, I'm not saying there weren't any superpowers, but
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, and I want to make this really clear, I'm aware of Jim Butcher's work with, what's that character's name? He's got a wizard detective too. He's not out here chasing supernatural demons and what it's not like Supernatural, the TV show. He just happens to have these abilities. He's a normal private investigator.
Yeah,
So,
like somebody hires him. I think my wife's cheating on me. Or,
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah. He's taking on regular gigs. Yeah.
Yep.
And then he also just happens to have superpowers.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's really cool. And I'm excited to see where this story goes. And is this self-contained then?
Yeah. Each Jake Bishop story will be self-contained. All of them, as far as I'm concerned, at this point, are going to be between 20 and 24 pages for a floppy, and all of them will come with a novella. So every time there's a Jake Bishop chapter, that's what you're going to get. Now, his next appearance, however, is in the next Pariah book, Sanctum of Hate, which is the sequel to Pariah Blood and Mud that we did last year. So that's where he pops up next.
So for people that want to read his other appearances or other Dark Gift Comics books, where can they find them? Are they available here, or are they available?
Yes. If you scroll down, you'll see there is a second chance for Pariah Blood and Mud. Right there, you just passed it.
I passed it. All right. Hold on.
Right there.
Digital catch up. Okay.
Oh, no, I was talking about I was talking about the body of the campaign.
Oh, okay. I was looking at here we go.
Yeah. So that's Pariah Blood and Mud. That's a 48-page black and white graphic novel that we did last year. It was $12 on the campaign, so we kept it at that price here. While it was on the website store, it was $15. Once I switch web host providers and get the store feature back, the other variants will be up there for $15. So you'll be able to get this variant. This is Doc's cover for the $12 on the campaign. So if you do want to see Jake Bishop next, because that's the next book to come out, Pariah Sanctum of Hate, and you like this book, you're probably going to want to pick this up just so you can keep up with the Pariah story, which is I think is only going to be a trilogy, right?
Yeah, Pariah's a trilogy. It's the story of Elizabeth Payne and her arc, and when it's done, it's done.
Gotcha. So what is Pariah about, for those that don't know?
Elizabeth Payne is a young lady who is working just innocently as a waitress in a nightclub that she doesn't know is owned and operated by the Russian mob. She witnesses a brutal murder. She tries to do the right thing to go to the police, and they put her into protective custody, but the mob find her. And we'll just say they give her a very bad night. They leave her for dead, but they should have made sure.
Okay.
Because she turns out to be a witch of horrific power.
Oh, that's a cool premise. I like these premises.
Yeah, so she in Pariah Blood and Mud, she recovers, she unlocks her powers, she co-opts the golem that you see on the cover there to her designs, and then at the end of the book, she's headed back to the city to let the fun begin.
These are great books at a great price. I mean, now I'm like starting to feel insecure about mine. These book prices are great.
Yeah, you can get the if you scroll up one more tier.
Yeah.
Right there. You can get both comics and the novella for $25.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
the
damn
graphic
good
novel,
deal.
48-page graphic novel, the 20-page floppy, and then the novella, all for the low price of $25. That's what you pay for one book, boys and girls. You're getting 3.
Yeah, this is a good deal. This is a very good deal. So I definitely hop on that. I like these premises. It looks like you pull from a lot of crime stuff in general then. Would you classify this as noir too, or?
It not really, no. But it does exist in that same world. And the aesthetics of this world they're in modern times. Mm-hmm. But it's an alternate Earth where the aesthetics of the 1940s never went away.
Gotcha.
Because like you said at the beginning of this, it wasn't broke, it didn't need fixing.
Right. It doesn't. Yeah.
So the men were men and the women weren't.
The women I was about to say the women I was waiting for. Yeah, that makes sense. What a time. What a time.
Tell them about your concepts for certain
like the profile pic.
For certain I guess.
Come on, Anthony, you got it.
because it's not just technology, so I don't want to just say technology, but like, because it's an alternate world, and
Yeah.
and
So
it has,
like instead of computers, they use data types. Instead of the internet, they have the electrosphere. And oddly enough, they call a phone a phone. It's
Not a
not
telephone.
it's not a smartphone. It's not a whatever. So there are things that are analogous to our technology. They
Right.
just call them something different because they were invented by different people in this world.
That's cool. I
yeah,
like
and they
that.
still got the lingo and stuff of the 40s. So
Right.
yeah.
And
Right.
weapons, I mean, I guess what's funny is in terms, even though we do all these modifications, I feel like, and maybe someone will tell me I'm wrong, but I feel like guns were pretty similar. I mean, in a lot of ways.
I mean, I'm still using a 1911 right now.
Well,
Got a
yeah, that's what I
Colt
mean.
45
Like,
1911. So
I almost got one for my first. I do want to get a 45 at some point. Like, I feel like as an American, I feel like I do need to get that at some point, just because I'm an American.
good man.
You
Good
know?
man.
I did shoot. And maybe it's just the one I was using. The first time I was shooting one, it jammed up. But I also think that's probably just that specific case because we've been using that reliably for over 100 years, and I just happened to pick one that jammed up. But it was still really. I like the feel of a 45 better.
Yeah.
But I was like 9mm. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'll start with a little basic baby gun.
A 9mm. I'm gonna quote Will Smith. I feel like I'm gonna break this damn thing. I need a 45. I need a brick.
Yeah,
I got big hands.
You feel like a man when you use it. So I should have, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start off with a little gun, and then I'll graduate to the big boy. But I always honestly feel like 45. It's not that much. It's like really,
No, it's a fine weapon. It's a fine weapon.
22. Yeah, 22. Oh my, that was like.
Yeah.
It was nothing. Nothing.
You chase away raccoons with that.
Yeah.
Or you could just like blow up the raccoon. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing about a 22, if you use a magazine fed or clip fed, those damn round the shell casings will fly for a mile. So when when you go to collect your brass, you got to go way over there to go get it.
No. Man, that makes sense.
If you scroll up a little bit, if you didn't want the novella, you just want the comics, you can get both of those for $17. I just wanted to say that.
Correct.
Oh, just the comics. Oh, right here. Sorry, I keep looking at both sides. Okay, this one right here, and the digital comes with all of them. That's really cool. So the digital is a PDF, I assume, right?
Yeah. So the digital, like if you just get the novella, you'll just get a digital of the novella. If you get both books. The comic and the novella, you'll get the digital for both. If you get all three, you'll get all three digitals. Yeah,
right.
So the digital will correspond with the tier that you get. Yeah.
Yep. Now, also on this campaign, because it's on brand for me, we are offering coffee mugs again. These, where are they? Scroll up a little bit, please.
No, it's down. Scroll down.
Oh, it's down. That's what I said. Down. I don't know why you argue with me. No, it's not. It's up.
Oh, it is up. Why is it up?
Why do you argue with me about these things?
Okay,
there we
my
go.
Bad.
So on the one side, it's going to have Jake Bishop's business card,
and Donovan is
his dead partner.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And the other side will have the damn dirty thing logo on it with a blood splatter. We're only offering them in black this go around. But these are, we order the best mugs we can get for the money. But then the sublimation is done by my next door neighbor. She has a printing service.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And I found out, Doc, I forgot to tell you that the mugs that we do get are made here in the States.
Oh, that's good.
American, baby.
So we could honestly say that as far as the mugs go, we know that every piece of
every step of the process is American.
The mugs are made here. I believe your neighbor, the stuff that she gets is all made here.
It is.
And she obviously lives here in the great old state of Georgia.
Right next door. So I have to hobble my old ass across the lawn, and she hobbles her ass out the door and hands me a big old box, and off they go. So yeah, coffee mugs are going to be available. They're only $18. And that's us making, I think, a quarter profit on these things.
Yeah.
Because they're expensive.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I was gonna do merch for my first comic. I'm like, because you guys have a brand, you guys have put stuff out before, so people will buy that. But I was trying to do that. I'm like, I have all these ideas for merch, and I'm like, dude, you know what? No one even knows who I am. That was my thing.
Vaughn, listen to me. Hear me.
Yeah.
Talk to Lori Calcaterra.
All right, you need to put me in contact.
You've been on her show.
Lori
Calcaterra hosts the Morning Brew.
Oh, wait, I haven't been on her show. I've been on Monday Madness.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hook up with Lori. She will tell you all about the merch and how she does it, because her campaigns is like going to Walmart. There's everything on there.
To get on her show, though?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give her a heads up.
Send her my information, or send me her information, and I'll reach out.
Okay.
But yeah, this is good. This is a good show. I've been seeing you guys making the rounds, promoting, which is always good. It's fun. My comic. I think more people need to be on here. This is it's all going to a good place, and we're more than halfway there. And you have 21. It's these 21 days in. Keep it going. We got.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, let's see it.
Scroll down.
Actual down this time, or is it?
Yes, actual down. All right, right there. We got some original art for sale. 2 pages are up for sale right now, $100 each.
Wow, that's a good deal.
Scroll on down a little bit. That right there is Jake Bishop's business card. That is a working phone number, 410-449-2466. You can call, and Jake Bishop's answering service is going to answer. And you can leave a message for Jake Bishop to take on your case. And the very best one, we're going to pick a winner, and they're going to get a little something for free. And we may make do a show one night and just screen all of them, the good, the bad, the ugly. So leave a way for us to know who you are.
Without doxing yourself.
Don't dox yourself.
Just like I wrote there, because we're gonna listen to these live, people. This is gonna be broadcast. So.
Yep. And then as you scroll down just a little bit more,
all right. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think of something.
Yeah, do it. So the stretch goals on this are at $3,000. We're doing a Porsche Vance trading card that everyone will get at $3,500. 24 by 36 tapestry of the cover of the book. When it's hanging on your wall, it's going to look like an old school movie poster from back in the day. And then the thing I'm really wanting here, $4,000 unlocks the audiobook version of the novella. I have the best voices in Comicsgate lined up to voice the characters in the book.
Oh.
Anthony will be producing it.
I'm something of an actor myself.
Yes, and I've already thought of you, sir. I have a role for you in mind.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, if I really want to get to this 4,000.
All right.
There's a sample you can play there. Play maybe 30 seconds of it.
Yeah,
I really want you to get at 4,000 now too. Help me get employed.
It's a 7-minute sample, but just play like the first minute. You get an idea.
All right.
Just kind of gives you a taste for the writing.
Man, I used to act.
Money. It's always about the money. There was no movement in Morelli's official banking records, but there was absolutely no chance he was living low. Not Morelli. No, wherever he had planted himself, he'd be living in luxury, and that means money. When the mob moved money off the books, they did it through shadow bankers. There was one such individual used by the Italians, the Irish, and the Russians, and God knows who else. Whitey Doyle. If you needed money moved off the books, Doyle was your man. He operated out of a legitimate pawn shop in the business district of Iron Heights. Doyle's was the place to go if you were a whisper away from ruin, where the last shreds of dignity can be pawned for a breath of borrowed time.
There you go. That's good.
That's good. These are honestly good. I used to listen to them more, but I used to listen to like short story, like stories on the internet narrated by people, and I like that stuff.
Yeah.
What's up, Allie? Yeah, Allie does voice acting too. Vaughn is going to play the newspaper boy going, extra? You mean extra?
Extra.
Oh,
Read all about it. Read all about it. I think sometimes the extra.
We went so far with this, like the cover of the book, which is also the cover of the novella. Here, I'll share this real quick. We paid homage to an actual movie poster.
Yeah.
Oh,
Born to Kill.
nice. Is that one? That one's worth a watch to take it, or is it just have?
No, that one is terrible.
Oh, okay.
It is terrible.
But it's
It is a great cover.
It's
That is a
great
great cover.
It's a great poster.
Yeah. I liked that big C shape with the book, the movie title right, in that lower right corner. The rule of thirds. It's right there, and I said, "That's what I'm doing for Damn Dirty Thing. I want it to look like a movie poster from back in the day." But yeah, that's a terrible movie. I went and watched it. It's awful.
I actually had someone go, "Can we get the original cover art?" And I was like, "No." I was like, it took it because there is no. I mean, the assets were drawn separately, and we pieced them together to pay homage to this. So there's not one actual, like it's not one piece.
I mean, I guess if you got out some scissors, you could. But no, the cover is composited from several different things that I drew, and Anthony helped me composite them and add the text and the effects to make it look really cool. So yeah, and didn't that guy look like Ben Affleck?
A little bit, right? Yeah.
Now that you mention it, I do see it a little bit. Yeah.
Like, what the hell, man?
A little bit. I see it.
Yeah.
That's cool though. This looks like a really cool book, and I think people are gonna like it. I like the feel of it. How far along are we?
The comic book is finished. The novella,
except for the lettering. Yeah,
except for the lettering. And the novella is 98% done. It's all there. I've just got to put it down on paper. I'm down to the last scene. They're headed to go get him.
All right, cool.
And then at the end, we get our plot twist with a damn dirty thing happening.
All right, that sounds cool. So everyone make sure to check this one out. And yeah, I mean, without further ado, I guess anything else you guys want to add before we close out?
Can we drop the link?
Oh, of course, I could drop it again. Yeah,
Okay.
I have it. I know people often drop it again.
It's pinned, but yeah, you should.
Okay.
Yeah, but
drop it.
No, it's still sometimes people people need constant reminders. Like that's the thing too. Like not just like there are multiple campaigns out right now that I want. And then it's like, if it doesn't show up, if I don't even have that 2 seconds of it scrolling across my feed, I might forget about something.
Right.
So that's why, I mean, advertising is so time consuming.
Yes, it is.
Yes, I think I had to have seen this a couple of times before I was like, oh yeah, I should have Anthony on my show. Sometimes that
actually, let's, could we play the trailer?
Oh yeah. I'm so sorry.
No, Student OG says, that sounded cool. Well, thanks, man. We really want to professionally do that.
Yeah.
Book, so let's get it to 4,000.
Yeah,
look, that's the struggle is, it's $7 a comic book, so to get to 4,000 is a lot of sales. So
yeah, and the thing is, we do have 2 subscription tiers. We have the damned if you do and damned if you don't. The damned if you do is everything, the pariah stuff, and the damn dirty thing stuff, and the damned if you don't is just if you already got pariah. You just have to get that, and it's all the damn dirty thing stuff. So, like, if you back one of those, you're gonna get the audiobook. You're gonna get the tapestry. You're gonna, all that.
Right.
If you didn't, they'll be put on here as a
add-on,
a reward. Yeah. Then you can come back and back them if you want. Yeah.
Yep.
stuff, man. Good stuff.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Looks great. And yeah, Fun My Comic exclusive. So definitely check this book out. We've got all these great tiers, all kinds of stuff available right here. Let's see one. And I think this book looks good and it needs more backers. So definitely make sure you guys do that. 41, we're pretty close. And just keep chugging along. We got some good
Absolutely.
And listening while running the treadmill. Oh, good stuff. All right, so we're I'm going to take credit for motivating him.
There you go. He got motivated.
Yeah, we were so inspirational that
Every dollar helps to produce a product and buy me a pack of instant grits.
there you go. There you go. What more incentive do you need, really? All right.
Hail, everybody. Hail.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been a blast. And,
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, anytime. This is a lot of fun. And yeah, so everyone make sure to check out this book. Stay tuned on my channel. Let's see. I don't know. What else do I got going on? Yeah, I mean, I got my own book, obviously, on Fun My Comic. I'll play the trailer for that as we head out. But where can everyone find you guys? Oh, I also...
You just muted yourself.
You muted, buddy.
God damn it. Hold on. There was something I wanted. I just highlighted all the text on the screen. There we go. That was what I was trying to do. I realized I didn't have that the whole time. Get back to work. That's what I plan to do after the stream, actually. Funny you say that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find right now, you can find all the links and stuff to because we also have Lightbringer Genesis Volume 2, which has been in demand with Dean James doing art. Over on Indiegogo. So the links to that, the links to A Damn Dirty Thing, which are in the chat, but if you don't click on them now, just go over to darkgiftcomics.com. You'll find the links there. Pretty soon the store will be back up, and you'll be able to get the other versions of Pariah Blood and Mud, the Luke Stone cover and the Jim O'Reilly cover will be back up for sale on there. For $15, so there'll be more than what you get for the Doc cover here on the campaign. And Dark Gift Comics Presents on YouTube, man. That's where you got to go.
Yep.
Awesome. Sounds
the
good.
slums, baby.
Yeah, let me put the link to that. Yeah, I was watching you guys the other day. Or hang on, was it the? I don't know. Indie Cockfight is great. That's a really fun show.
Yeah, I love that. The next one is actually me and this old man down here.
Oh, really? You guys going head to head? That's funny.
Next week.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I don't know who to vote for. I guess we'll just vote based on merit.
He thought he would escape by being the host. So I said, I don't think so, Scooter.
So who's going to be hosting it then?
Dillard.
John Dillard.
Dillard? Oh, that's good.
Now,
yeah, Dillard will I don't know who his co-host is going to be.
Dillard will mutually abuse both of us.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I've seen enough of your show to know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you can find me on YouTube, Doc Blalock. I'm the only Doc Blalock there. I do a weekly show called Doc's Coffee Shop, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I kind of pop up here and there throughout the week in various places. You can find me on the Twitter, Doc Blalock 8404.
Just subscribed. All right, I'm putting your link in the chat too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Of course.
And ours is kind of like it's a throwback to the old morning radio talk shows on your drive time going in. But I didn't want to do it at drive time. I wanted to sleep in.
That's cool. So everyone make sure to check that out. And without further ado, all right, I'll see you guys next time. I'm going to play the trailer as I head out. And have a great rest of your day, guys. Get back to work.
Thanks,
Thanks,
back to work.
Someone says, "What's the future?"
Wrong thing. That's my intro again. Or my trailer. When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new. something greater to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenal. For you, Dad. For you.